Hello, everybody. How's it going? My name is Carter Hall. Welcome back to another episode of the What Really Happened podcast. I'm Carter Hall. As I mentioned, my guest today was once pounding faces in the octagon. Now she's wrestling, wrestling or coaching a wrestling team, and now she's getting back into the ring, boxing ring. This time to pound some more faces. She'll be um, in Amarillo, Texas, in a boxing match again at the Azteca Hall. Sarah Alpar, welcome back to the podcast. How's it going?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
It's going great. Thank you. I mean, you're on my podcast. I want to say thank you for coming on because you came on my podcast early on and you were just killing it. And now you're still killing it. Seems like. Thank you so much for coming on. It means a lot
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me.
for sure. I mean, like I mentioned, we'll talk about boxing, but um I mentioned you're a boxer, but you're also now a wrestling coach. You were, doing all of you're still doing you're still crushing everything that you do. So um you're boxing and you're a wrestling coach. So how'd you get like first of all, I want to know like how'd you get into like becoming a wrestling coach? Because that's I wrestled in high school at Tascosa. I just want to know like how'd you like was that something that you always wanted to do one day in your life? Like how did that happen?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer of like everything happens for a reason, and that just put good energy out into the world, and good energy is gonna come back to you. Um, Cobb always he was the wrestling coach out there, and then Stafford, you probably know that, yeah.
Yeah.
um, but he, he always wanted me to go into coaching, and he thought it would be great for me to do. Now, I was so focused on my fight career and everything like that, but I still, in the midst of all that, like went to college, got my bachelor's, sports exercise science, did all that. So I still had a background to be able to fulfill something if my fight career didn't turn out the way I wanted to. So kids, go to school, do your grades, have a backup plan. Yes. So in the midst of it, I got cut from the UFC. Uncle Dana didn't like that Jake Paul funded my last camp and all that political stuff. It's so stupid, but is what it is. Didn't meet his expectations, I guess. And then in the midst of that as well, I ended up herniating disc in my back and found out I have like some tears in my hips, stuff like that. So it kind of put me out for a while. And I thought my whole fight career and just competing was pretty much over. I needed to figure something else out.
Yeah.
But in the midst of that, I have a friend whose son was at the high school out in Moore in Oklahoma, and she was like, "Hey, they need a coach for the girls' team. This the current one, she's quitting or moving somewhere else, whatever the reason was for that." And so I went in and I did a small interview. They liked me, and I did another interview with the school, and they liked me. So I got the job there, which is super awesome. Um, and then they came back and they're also like, hey, we have a English teaching position open. We could get you emergency certified. You just need to take some tests. Do you want to do that? So I teach English as well.
Oh wow.
Um, and that's how I landed all that, which is cool. Definitely different. Teaching's not, it's not for the faint of heart, but I don't know, there's something I have like a calling for it. And it's cool to be able to go back and help these kids and to just guide them and lead them where they need to go because they are our future and I want a good future.
For
So
sure.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Congratulations on that. I mean, that's really awesome. I mean, you kind of mentioned like Uncle Dana and everything, Jake Paul. We're not going to get into that, but it kind of leads you, certain things lead you to, send you down a path, something that's for your even greater. Like you said, you're helping these kids for a greater future and everything like that. You're teaching English, you're coaching wrestling.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of great things. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I mean, was it like with you being on the technically, I don't want to say the other side, but like with you being a coach, is it any different? like when your days in wrestling as a high school, was it completely different or like kind of like how come what I'm trying to say, is it any different at all than what you expected?
Like converting from athlete to coach
Yeah.
and that side. Oh yeah, it's so different. One as an athlete, you want to compete, you want to do this, and then as a coach, you're teaching them to compete and to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
And just kids, especially, just understanding them and how they are, and being patient with them because a bunch of teenagers running around you, so many emotions and hormones and everything else.
Yeah.
So that was a big change. I cornered my friend a couple of fights, so being able to speak and to coach on that side, I've had some experience with that. But it's been a while since getting into the wrestling room, being specifically for wrestling. And then the program in Oklahoma for girls is only 3 years old. So basically, I have a new team of girls, and the coaches, just the school in general, is figuring out like what works, what doesn't, what does it mean to have a girls team, and having some solidity on there, some structure, um, and a foundation to build in order to have a good team. So a lot of stuff we're working with, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's totally different on that end. But it's good. I like it. It's just very gratifying for sure.
Oh, sweet. I mean, you said you cornered a couple matches and anything like that, so you kind of got your feet wet as far as coaching. Um, Now I mean, you're a coach, but you're still active. I mean, you're still like looking to compete and anything nowadays. I mean, you're like I mentioned earlier, you're getting back into the a different, you're getting into a ring, but it's a different ring this time. It's a boxing ring. I mean, so you still have that little bit of a competitive juice, it sounds like. I don't know, like,
Mm-hmm.
um, what's your mindset right now? Like, as far as like getting into the ring, like overall, like what's your mindset right now?
Yeah, I'm just grateful for the opportunities to still be able to compete because I thought with my back, and it was so bad. I mean, I'm telling you, like I was like scooting around in a little rolly chair around my house because it just hurt so bad to walk around. I had a couple cortisone injections and stuff, and I was supposed to get surgery on my hip, and that recovery process is 6 months in itself, and so like I was just like, man, like I'm just done. Had myself a small little pity party, and then I couldn't take it anymore. I needed to get back in there because it's just most of my life. It's just I've always been an athlete. Over half my life I've been an athlete. It's like after school, after work, like wherever it was, like I train. That's just all I know. And I missed it. And then I ended up at this boxing gym, and I was like, like things feel okay. There's certain stuff I really have trouble with, but I went through physical therapy, and then I was doing that, and I was like, okay, boxing's pretty forgiving on these old bones. Like I could do that. And then next thing I know that, I'm ready to compete again. Like for a little bit, I guess, I don't know if it was like I was heartbroken or just feeling a certain type of way, or I don't know what it was, but yeah, I was just like, I was done over it, and then I wasn't, and now it's like going back to it. But I'm so excited to be boxing. Boxing is just really cool. And it's helped, I'm able to get back and like do some MMA sparring and stuff like that. And it's helped with that too. It's helped my MMA game. Like I have more like swagger with me. So it's really cool, and it really breaks everything down into the basics because MMA, it's like a mix of everything. Where boxing, it's strategically just you going in and throwing punches and lots of footwork and
Mhm.
head movement and things like that. So, and that was one of my weak points too, was my stand up. So now it's like facing that and tallying that off, like I'm getting stronger, and so I don't know, like maybe I'll heal myself up enough that I might be able to get back in and do MMA again. I just But I know we'll see. We'll see how froggy I'm feeling. But until then, I'm gonna fulfill some boxing, see where I can go with it, really grow myself as an athlete, and go from there.
Oh, that's pretty good. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. I mean, so so I was gonna say earlier, like I mentioned, I wrestled or anything like that, but you wrestled obviously too, and you went to like the highest level in UFC, and you're still boxing and doing this amazing stuff. I mean, but there's no way that I was going to able to transform into, you MMA or boxing. There's no way I'm letting someone actually punch me in the actual face. I'm too scared to do that, I'll admit. But like I'll just play UFC for it. I don't care. I'm too scared to get punched in the actual face. So you're much more braver than I'll be. But so so I ask, like, how like was that like overall process from transform like from MMA? Was it like huge like a mindset for you, like physically? I'm not physically, but mentally, spiritually, like you got that like competitive spirit. I mean, was it like bigger than you expected it to be initially?
No, it was a familiar feeling, like competition wise and mindset wise. Biggest part just as an athlete in general, for mindset is just number one, believe in yourself. Uh, number like one is having fun. If you're not having
Mm.
fun doing it, why are you in it? Um, so I mean, really like not having the pressure of what I had being in the UFC and just everything else that was going on when I was in it. Like not having that and having a good time and just growing and still being able to learn new things. It's been nice. It's been enjoyable. It's back to where it's fun and not a work or not something that I feel like I have to get this in order to survive and in order to make a career myself and this and that. Like the way I have things, having my school position that gives me stability and gives me a future of something when all this is over. Um, and then again, like just being able to compete. I'm just grateful for that opportunity, and living in gratefulness. That's the key to everything. You could try to look at that grass on the other side, but it just, like it's still green on my side. It's just how I look at it and the lens I look through. So,
Sure.
um, yeah, in that regard, I mean, yeah, it's just like a couple of things have changed, but really, generally between like the two sports, like the mindset's still the same. You just work hard, you grind at it, do the best you can. Check all the marks off, make sure you're doing everything right, doing everything you need to do, and then you don't live in regret. Just have a good old time.
So let's go. I mean, you just gave me
Yeah.
a little bit of a pump up there. I don't know why, but I mean, so with you, it feels like without giving too much away, was yours like, do you think your strike game was always your best part of your fighting ability? Was that like without giving too much away, in your opinion, was that like your striking like your most confident, or was it like your wrestling background?
It was my wrestling background. Like I was tough. And I was used to going in and doing takedowns and this and that. But now, like my striking is so much better. My foot movement, just being able to move around and stuff. Like, oh man, like put me back in a fight. Let me show you how to do. And as long as I keep here, clear and level headed, and again, I just think like just go out and have fun and relax. Don't put too much pressure. When I think too much about something, when I'm keying in on certain moves or like I don't know, and I just like hyper focus in on something too specific instead of having fun and just going out and being confident in myself. I don't perform as well when I go out there and I just take everything out, just have a good time, keep my hands up, keep my hand moving and stuff. Like I do well. I feel good, feel light, I feel confident, and I perform very well.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, I'm a firm believer like keeping like close people around you, keeping a cool circle around you, you know. You said keeping like a cool like your head, clear and anything like that. I mean, who was there anybody in particular who like inspired you, who you can go to like, okay, like you could talk to, make you go back to your like your level headed, like if you're like feeling too like you're up here, okay, I need to be like in the zone, whatever for a match. Like, is there anybody like who inspires you or anything like that?
Yeah, there's one of the owners at the gym at Western Avenue that I go to. Her name's Rebecca Hoffman. She's always coming in and reminding me to just have a good time, and she believes in me and encourages me. So it's nice. There's some coaches up there and like they mean well, but it's like it's too much of the focus of you need to get better in this instead of like you're doing great, keep over. So having her there to remind me like I'm still a great fighter. And yeah, there's stuff I need to work on because I'm super hard on myself. Like I want to do everything right, I want to do it perfect, I want to get it down. And there'll be times if like I feel like oh, I know like my hand was down, or I know like I like fucked it up, and just to have
Hmm.
a reminder is like, no, you're doing good. Chill out. It's all right.
Yeah,
Like you're so badass. Like keep it up. So she keeps me level headed, which is great because that's I need more of that because I'm again like I'm so hard on myself. So it's nice to hear that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I always want those people around me too. It's like,
Mhm.
because with podcasting, like editing, doing all this stuff, I'm like, I want it to be perfect. Like anything for me, it's like I want to be perfect. So it's like, okay, I gotta pull back sometimes. Like, okay, it's not gonna be exactly perfect. You gotta go this way or this way. So it's always cool to have those people in your corner. Like, no pun intended, those people in your corner, if you will.
Really.
Really.
Yeah.
So I
Hmm.
mean, I was gonna ask you, like, you mentioned Jake Paul earlier. I mean, has he reached out or Logan Paul like about any advice, like throwing hands or anything like that? Any good combos yet?
After he funded my camp, I mean, like, let's face it, he funded my camp not to like get to know me, but to make a statement for the UFC. And it just with everything else that came out, oh, this UFC fighter puts out, a GoFundMe to raise. Wow, they sure need to get paid more. Like
Yeah.
he had a deeper reason for funding me. Um, and it was like fortunate but unfortunate with the circumstances with that. Like overall, I'm so grateful. It was cool that I was able to do that and I was able to take care of myself for that time and time after. Because like I was still working, I was still trying to do privates and this and that and training full time and traveling and just like doing everything I could to try to be a better athlete. But like I wouldn't have made it if he wouldn't have helped me. Um, so it's so good for that. But like I haven't heard anything from him afterwards, and I'm kind of curious, like if he's signed with PFL and he's working with them, it's like if I get back in MMA, maybe like do I have a chance with that? Like since he's in it, or like what does that look like? Because I'm also a firm believer that networking is the key to so much success in anything that you do. You need to give yourself a good reputation and have a good personality, be it, extrovert, put yourself out there. And that's where on like a financial aspect of where you need to be, that's where success is going to come from. Like, I mean, but it's true. Look at like all the social medias and everything else in here. You just need communication. You need that network. You need that person to help you. So I don't know, like if maybe later on, if I'm like, okay, I want to get back into MMA, I want to try PFL, I want to do this, or if I start jumping the rankings for boxing, when that starts happening, getting on shows with Triller and stuff, like who knows. So it's still good that he knows my name, he knows who I am, and just bringing myself back to that level and seeing what I can get from that. But otherwise, I still support him. I think he's great. He's out there doing his thing. He's successful, and he's doing things right. And he's helping people get paid. Like he's paying. He lost his last fight, and he like gave a big bunch of, I believe, like his purse to his opponent, and he's just like I lost it. Like, here you go, so he's
Yeah.
still out there like helping other people and stuff, even though he's kind of doing it in a what's the word? Like a rambunctious way, a non-traditional way, I guess. So
Yeah, I can see that.
rebellious way. Yeah.
Yeah, rebellious. This is a really good word. Is that gonna be your
Mhm.
nickname when you come out, Sarah Rebellious Alpar? Are you sticking
Yeah.
are you sticking to too sweet or no?
Gonna be too sour.
Too sour? I like it. But, there's so much, that goes into like, there's so much that goes into fighting, combat sports as a whole that most people really don't think about. They just turn on the TV and then there's the fight, they don't think about, like, anything else like you just mentioned. I was gonna say, like, I was gonna ask you, like, the end goal, like, your personal end goal, was it to be, like, the WBC champion or you go back to sport? Like, you kind of already somewhat answered it, but, like, was that, like, your ultimate end goal is to go back into the thing that you love or still love?
Currently, my end goal,
Yeah.
I haven't figured that out yet. I'm still adjusting and growing right now. And I just have the itch to compete. Um, yeah, like I guess really my big focus is my kids and wrestling and teaching and growing and being the best role model and teacher that I can be and wrestling coach. Doing that because that's my career. So with in regards to like fighting and boxing, right now again, like each time I'm able to get a match and be able to grow and to see how many fights I can get, because like a big thing with boxing, because I was pro in MMA, I have to go pro in boxing, and it's just boxing's just different, and the way they do things is different from MMA. And I don't I like when you go pro in boxing, usually you have probably like, I don't know, 200 fights or something as an amateur and stuff like that. And so, yeah, like jumping into that and growing myself and catching up where I need to be in that's gonna be my first focus. But I have been thinking about, I've been looking at the ranks and like who's number one in this weight class, who's this, like what is it, like what does it look like, where can I go with that. And I do believe I'm capable of going for a title and making that happen. It's just something, it's just kind of like a little forethought, like some curiosity in there, but it's not something I have chosen yet. That I haven't decided, like, do I want to be a champion? Do I want that? But I think time might be coming for it. I don't know. Like I ponder on it. Like, I keep looking. Yeah. But I know, like, once I set a goal, I'm so stubborn and I can accomplish that. I mean,
Yeah.
I told myself in 2014 that I was going to go into the UFC when it opened up for girls, and I did it. I made it. I made it happen. And everything else, like, I want to do something, I'm going to accomplish it. So if I'm gonna dedicate myself and tell myself, like, I'm gonna be champion at this weight class and I'm gonna champion at boxing, um, when I decide that's gonna happen, then it will happen. So
Yeah.
I think, like, right now I'm just, there's so much going on at the moment, so much stimulus coming at me, just with this like teaching and coaching and everything else, that I haven't like signed my own little contract to say, hey, I'm gonna be a champion. So I think I just like have been like, I don't know, just holding off in my head, subconsciously just like holding off on it because I just know myself. So
Yeah. I mean, you did what you set out to do. Like you said, going like having that stubbornness, enough stubbornness to go, like you said, in the UFC in 24 when there was women started able to compete that level, you were able to do it. So there's no doubt. I don't think you could be like the champion at whatever it is that you do. Um, which is pretty awesome. So you can continue to any haters out there, you just give them that toothpiece with a soda if you want to. I mean, I'm just kidding. But
it's like the
so
chicken strips.
no, I mean like two piece.
Oh,
Oh, like
I
piece.
never heard that before. Oh
Uh,
my god.
Shout out to Jorge Masvidal. I heard it from him first. I mean, I gotta give credit where credit's due. But
Look at me all being like a fat kid all hungry. Like, some chicken strips and a soda. Yeah, let me get that.
uh, no, I meant like extracting. I'm sorry, I should have made that more clear. I'm bad. That's on
It's
me.
hilarious. I
But
love that.
yeah. So, speaking of kind of about food and stuff like that, I was gonna ask like, how do you balance like, like how do you balance making weight, like kind of, that may probably restrict the amount you can eat versus, staying at the highest cardio level that you can be at.
Listen, I'll tell you what, there's been in my career, the biggest mess up, the biggest hindrance I've done for myself is not trusting myself and the energy needs that I need, and like knowing and gathering information and education for my fight career and for what I need for my body. Um, that it's a big thing. Like so many fighters and athletes, like we don't eat enough and stuff. And so currently, like a big thing that got me really involved in all this is like in the midst of my UFC career, I couldn't get below 160. I was always just so heavy. I had nutritionists and dietitians helping me out and trying to like do my cuts and this and that, and I couldn't lose weight. I felt exhausted. I just felt like crap. And I was like, I eat good. Like, that's not the problem. Like, I don't know what's going on. And then I started doing my own research and I started doing all this and like trying to heal my body. And now currently, like the more that I listen, like I'm always on podcasts, I'm always reading books. I'm just obsessing myself to give myself the best that I can. And I wish if I could give the advice to athletes everywhere, it's like know your body because that is your work. Educate yourself and make sure you know how your mechanics work, and that involves like learn about how strength and conditioning works, learn about how recovery works, learn about the food that you're taking in and what it means, like what is a carbohydrate and why do you need it. Because
Yeah.
it's just important. It's the same thing like if you're trying to go into a job, let's say, I don't know, you want to be um a veterinarian. I don't know. I'm pulling this out of my pocket. Let's see if I can make this work. You want to
Sure.
be a veterinarian. You can't just like go in and be like, okay, well, I know dogs have four legs and they're furry, and you put a thermometer in their butts and get their temperature. No, you go in, you know everything about like all these animals and how they work and what they do and illnesses and this and that. Like, you're going into your field and you know everything about it so that you can be successful and help your furry friends. The same thing is about yourself. You're a professional athlete. Your body's your work. You need to obsess and know everything about what your body does, how it works, how your movements take place, and how to keep your career going longer. So I mean, with that, like for so long, I just wasn't eating enough. I was like having, little meals. It was clean, it was good food and stuff, but I wasn't doing enough. And so now I'm working towards trying to eat more and structuring myself better, having like giving myself what my body needs and making that adjustment, so that I can grow and like be a better have my performance be better and to have more longevity in this sport. So now I'm all looking at like people around me and I just like shake my head like, man, I've been there. I wish you would take this upon yourself now instead of trying to depend on somebody else or just kind of thinking that all the like stuff that you hear, all these fad diets and things like that, where like, no, you need to know science, you need to know your body, like you need to get on it.
Most definitely. I wish I heard this advice whenever I was in high school because I was varsity wrestling team at one point, just straight up eating Taco Bell almost every day and going to wrestling practice was like the two worst combos ever. So I don't recommend that. Listen to Sarah. She obviously knows what she's doing. But
Hey, You remember is it the Wiener Schnitzel? They had like the burrito and it was like a chili cheese fry in the burrito.
Yeah, I remember that.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
You brought back
Yeah.
a memory I totally forgot about. I remember those.
Yeah, the old Wiener Schnitzel. Yep. Yep, right
Yeah,
down the street. Go over.
yeah. Used to go there
Yeah.
all quite a bit too, more than I like to
Uh-huh.
admit. But yeah,
Yep, yep. Got it. And I see it with my kids and stuff too, just like the unfamiliarity with it. I'm like, man, if you just knew, like God. So yeah.
uh, getting into CrossFit and stuff like that, I was like, big slap in the face. I was like, okay. I was like, in that mind, back in my mind, like, okay, I could be a wrestler. I wrestled in high school. I can do this. And then someone's like, okay, we're running a mile. And that's like one part of the move work. I'm like, we're running a mile. Excuse me. Like, okay. I was like, okay. And then that's when it really hit me. I was like, okay, got him. Your intake's going to be different. Okay. It's like kind of have that thing, that's where it kind of started changing. But like you said, just like what you said, Sarah, was perfect advice. I mean, just keep doing, like, if there's people out there, high school, middle school, who are wrestling, keep, listen to your body.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, awesome. So can't wait to hear the results of your fight. I mean, I'm pretty excited about your new boxing debut. That's pretty exciting, obviously.
Yeah, it's in Amarillo. So I'm in my hometown and like with people I know, and I've never fought local before. So I'm excited and ready, and I'm gonna just flourish. It's gonna be great. I'm so pumped up. It's so cool seeing the gyms around here grow and thrive, and now they're putting shows on out here. So I mean it's important. It's important, and I'm glad that the community is more supportive than it was, because back in like I don't know when shark fights were on and everything like that. Oh, old Amarillo, we're just such a conservative
Yeah.
city, and we're so middle of the Bible
Yeah.
Belt. Why are these people getting all roughed up? We don't, play some
Yeah.
football. Like,
That's how it
so
was. Yeah.
they're
So it
like,
is.
yeah, they're supporting it more, and they're into it. So it's good. I love it. I love that so much.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited. It sounds like a dream scenario. I mean, come back, your hometown hero. It seems like coming to, hopefully, I not hopefully, I believe you're gonna go knock that person out, your opponent out. But I don't put the carrots before the horses. I mean, you're putting in work. I can't thank you enough for coming on the podcast again, Sarah. It's been amazing.
Yeah, this has been great. Thanks for having me. Keep kicking some butt. When you get famous like Joe Rogan, have me back
Uh,
on. Don't forget about me.
I don't know. Hopefully, I'll be Joe Rogan level. I don't know. Maybe one day.
Gotta talk about the mushrooms and the weird stuff that he does.
Yeah. Hopefully, if I ever get that level, whatever, I'll have you on for sure.
Sounds good.
You'll be talking about how you got your investment in Prime with Logan and everybody.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Cool. Well, thank you so much again, Sarah, and thank you to everybody who tuned into this podcast. Hope you have a great rest of y'all's weekend. Great rest of your day. Sarah, thank you once again.
Yeah. Have a
Cool.
great day.
Cool. See ya.
Yeah, I started on a 50 mil lens. Now I'm about to bag 50 mil yen. I can shoot all day, I got stamina. Turtleneck on with my camera, yeah. Stay creamy, man, that's what they say. Shoes laced up and I came to play. Yeah, I'm first team, I'm a superstar. They call me Cream, like Abdul-Jabbar. Yeah, you had to face it, let's get back to basics. I'ma take the shot like it's a vaccine.